I'd like to recognise and pay my respects to the Yolngu people, the Yolngu Nation, elders, leaders and families. It is such an honour to be here. And I'm humbled to be so graciously welcomed by the Gumatj clan onto your lands. Thank you too to the Yothayindi Foundation, the organisers of Garma. It's my first time here and it's such a privilege. And can I also, as your Foreign Minister, welcome the leaders from the Pacific who are here, from Tonga, from Marshall Islands, from Kiribati, Solomon Islands, from Fiji and Papua New Guinea and Palau. Thank you for joining us here. We have Australia Award scholars here too. These are people from other countries who we bring to Australia, and I welcome the 7 scholars who are here, some of whom bring First Nations heritage and culture from their own countries. Thank you for being here. I'm very honoured and humbled to lead a delegation from the government, which includes the exceptional Malandiri McCarthy, Jason Clare, Tanya Plibersek, Jess Walsh, the Attorney General, as well as Anne-Claire O'Neill and Kate Thwaites. Thank you all for joining me here today. Malandiri will speak to you about the work she is doing, and I want to say there is no one more gracious and no one more determined in the government when it comes to reconciliation and closing the gap. Thank you, Malandiri. But I want to start by reflecting on Garma's theme this year. Bookmark, everyone. And some of you know that the word bookmark is important in the context of the treaty Australia and Fiji recently signed, and I will come to talk about that shortly. But as Jawa spoke to me about last night, bookmark is a powerful message at this time for our country, to all of us. A powerful message about who we are, where we have come from, and most importantly, where we want to go as a country. Over these few days, thousands of people from across Australia and indeed the world will walk on this country to listen, to learn, to experience. No matter your background, no matter your culture, your race, your religion, or your language. Garma is an invitation to everyone to come together, to learn together. And at a time when there are those who seek to set us apart, First Nations peoples, with your generosity, remind us our many different stories brought together make us stronger. And for tens of thousands of years, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have lived this, expressed in ceremony and songlines, language and law, encompassing the lands of our nation, from the Red Centre to the rainforest and the coastal shores, and reaching further over the seas and oceans to the people of the Pacific and of Southeast Asia, through the whale and turtle hunters who set out for Saibai and Badu, for Noumea and Vanuatu and beyond, and through the Yolngu and Yanyuwa who traded with the Makassan seafarers and ventured to harbours and ports beyond the horizon. And I was so moved to witness the Nundarabala clan, the red flag dancers yesterday. In fact, the Prime Minister, in his very first bilateral visit after election, he of course went to Indonesia where he visited Sulawesi and spoke of the ties between the Makassar and the Yolngu. Makassans who traded trepang, metal and cloth, trepang then sold as popular food and medicine in China. And this contact over hundreds of years was documented through rock art and bark paintings. You see, centuries before Europeans arrived, First Nations people connected Australia with the world. And I am proud of that history. And I want that history and that practice to be part of our foreign policy, and that is what we are doing. You see, the work we do through First Nations international engagement is about using all elements of our national power, of who we are, our unique cultural and historic regional ties to our collective benefit, embracing all that we are, because that is so powerful. And I am proud of the work of so many First Nations people who bring perspective and advice and wisdom, and how they have helped shape how we negotiate and secure treaties, how we improve outcomes on trade, and how we engage with the world. And I acknowledge the leadership of Justin Mohammed and thank him for his tireless work. At a time of global contest and uncertainty, First Nations diplomacy is a source of strategic national advantage which cannot be replicated or emulated. And we have seen that through the connections with countries of our region. We saw that today, where we have a very gift from the Honourable Prime Minister Avo and Baro. The power of that you saw today. This culture resonates in profound ways across our region, where ties of kinship and faith, trade and traditions remain strong. And simply recognising that our peaceful, prosperous and pluralist country is the home of the world's oldest continuous culture holds power, because when we draw on every one of Australia's voices, we are a stronger country and a more capable country in the world. And I want to talk to you about the Nakamal Agreement that we struck with Vanuatu. In Vanuatu, Nakamal means a meeting place, a place for traditional leaders and communities to meet, to listen, to speak, to resolve, to build unity and respect. So the bonds between First Nations, Melanesian and Australian South Sea Islander communities were a foundation for that agreement, enabling us to acknowledge hard truths about the past, to build on our mutual respect for heritage and for culture, and to agree to work together in ways deeper and more concerted in pursuit of a shared vision for the ocean of peace. And from that, mutual respect is also at the core of our Vuvala Union and the Ocean of Peace Alliance with Fiji. And from that respect, we've developed an aspiration to build a future that our two nations can share as one family, one Vuvale. And that was demonstrated at the signing ceremony, where Yungal Order Japari Mununguriti stood alongside the Prime Ministers of Australia and Fiji. Thank you, John. And she and Denise, the CEO of Yothu Yindi Foundation, travelled for more than 40 hours from Yirkala, carrying as a gift a yidaki, a gumach didgeridoo, a gift that left Prime Minister Mbuka and the chiefs of Suva deeply moved. But Yolngu elders made another gift too, because the union that we have built with Fiji includes a forum to build that shared future. It's different to usual diplomatic constructs. It's not just minister to minister. It's government, traditional, faith-based and business leaders. And recognising the uniqueness and significance of that forum, Yolngu elders gifted a name for it, a name drawn from Yolngu Matha, and a name shared by this year's festival, Bookmark. See, Bookmark represents the togetherness, the shared responsibility, the inclusive outlook, and the collective purpose these treaties between Australia and Fiji represent. Bookmark is not only a gift to Australia and Fiji and the Fuvale Union, it is not only a meaningful expression of togetherness, it is also a commitment to reflect the unity and diversity of Australia in our foreign policy. I have often said foreign policy starts with who we are. This is how we project ourselves to the world. And what we project to the world about who we are is an element of our national power. And as I look around here at this festival, this is who we are. So rich in history, so rich in culture, home to more than 300 ancestries, and we share common ground with so many of the world's peoples. We are not a monoculture, and we have never been. And this is why we want to bring more of who we are to our foreign policy, because the more we bring of Australia to the table, the stronger we are. Benefits who we are, our national interests and our people. Promotes trade, investment, showcasing First Nations enterprise and innovation, and it deepens our relationship across the Pacific and Southeast Asia. Drawing on another historical fact that as well as being our first diplomats, First Nations people were Australia's first traders. Whether exchanging trepang or ochre, songs or stories or rituals, First Nations peoples established trading routes that are still inscribed across our continent and which extend into the Pacific and Southeast Asia. And these ancient practices, albeit thousands of years old, represent our way forward in the region as we grow trade, investment and economic ties across our region, helping to realise our aspirations for peace and prosperity. And this is why we have been proud to inaugurate a new era in our partnership with Timor-Leste. And I say to the Prime Minister, Muito obrigada for coming here. You honour us with your presence. The Parceria Fon Baera Fon is founded on mutual respect and a shared vision for the future. Backing Timor-Leste's successful bid to join Southeast Asian nations as a member of ASEAN and amplifying your voice in regional and global decision-making. Partnering with Timor-Leste in support of your autonomy and your economic development. A tangible expression of our aspirations for the future of our partnership, but also our aspirations for the future of the region. We see here at Garma, and in the culture and history that we have been so privileged to witness, the power of mutual respect and the power of connection, but also the insight that is this: the past can chart our way forward. A region that is peaceful, stable, prosperous and secure, embracing the peoples of the Pacific, of Australia and of Southeast Asia, in the abiding circle established by First Nations diplomats and traders. This is our future. Thank you.